recording this session. When you're ready, I'd actually love for you to actually stand up. Stand up and just put your hands above your head. Okay. And we're just going to stretch out our core, open up our posture. And just, for this session, just say yes to whatever happens. Yes. All right. And maybe you can bring your hands down and just really open up that posture. And now maybe you can make an inspirational pose. In your living room, no one's watching you. Okay. So what we're gonna do next is I'd actually love for people to get on video, and we're gonna get some people spotlit. So if you are in this session and you want to take away the juicy benefits of human connection, then you're going to want to turn on your video. Otherwise, there will be a lot of things that you'll be missing out. So friends, before we get started today, we're just going to do a little group stretch. And I'm just going to get a bunch of people spotlit. All right. And we already did our first little core exercise, so we're just going to do some imitation, okay? So I'm going to begin, and we're just going to stretch out the neck. So let's do a little bit to the left, and to the right, and let's bring our neck around, rotate. And I'm going to invite Jimmy Rose, a good friend of mine, to lead the next stretch. Whatever you got, Jimmy. Just whatever movement you want.
All right. Let's open up the chest and just reach around. And if you can,
clasp
your hands behind your back. If not, just place them on the lower back. And open those shoulders out. For a great stretch. You might even hear your sternum pop a little bit. Mine certainly does. I'm not going to worry about that though.
Okay, awesome. Right. Katie, would you be able to lead us through just a movement or stretch?
Sure.
Yay!
So let's go ahead and open up our shoulders.
Oh, here we go.
Let's start with the right.
See, the great thing about the spotlight function is that if you're not doing the stretch and you're on the spotlight, it's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Shake out the shoulders, shake them out, shake them out, shake them out. All right, everyone. So don't worry, you're not going to be spotlit this entire time. So what we were just doing before I invite John to join me on stage, who is with the Meetings Innovation community, I just want to emphasize the importance of physiology. The importance of physiology and managing our guests' physiology when we're leading virtual meetings. Usually, when we're looking at our phone or our screen, we're crunched up. Our blood is like pooling in kind of our feet or lower area. And so just standing up, shaking it out, maybe listening to some good inspirational music can really change our physiology. So with that, John, please introduce me, I guess. Welcome, John. Oh, I auto-muted John. I apologize, John. I have sophisticated Zoom technology.
It's the classic Zoom thing. You've done an excellent job of introducing yourself with your lighting alone. That sets the tone for me. It's like, all right, so now we're in a different kind of energy zone. So yeah, I think if you're in the community, then you have probably seen the event that you signed up for. But as an international facilitator and a party scientist, which I would like to learn more what a party scientist does, obviously. I'm looking forward to finding out how this changes the energy dynamic of our meetings. We've done some meetings where we've done things that where energy pump or increasing the energy is the right thing to do, and sometimes where decreasing energy is the right thing to do. And I super appreciate the stretching at the beginning and the centering activity to get us in place. And I'm going to turn it over to you and let you talk more about what you want to have done here today.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. What a great community you've built. And the truth is, yeah, most events and virtual meetings I attend, I'd just rather not be there because a lot of people have not yet discovered the science of human connection, which is my specialty. And like a good party scientist would, we are going to be intensively using breakout rooms today because one of my principles as an experienced designer is maximizing the amount of interaction and specifically back and forth. So not only receiving information, but being able to relate it back. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 check-ins that you can immediately use in your own meetings. One of them is going to be really funny, and then the other one's going to be about embodiment, which is a form of mindfulness practice. So I'm going to put we're going to get into breakout rooms in a second, but I'm first going to put this in the chat, and then I'm going to show you this sheep check-in image, which is quite hilarious. So it's kind of a fun way that you can start your meeting. And it's kind of a good conversation starter as well. So this is our sheep check-in, and I'm going to share my screen to the breakout rooms, so you will be able to see this. And we are going to be in breakout rooms of 2s or 3s for a very short period of time, about 2 minutes, and then we're going to come back to this wonderful, wonderful space. So can everyone just give me a thumbs up if this makes sense? Awesome. Sweet. Getting feedback from your participants. Oh, and someone is so advanced with the emojis. Well, yes, awesome. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to be in breakout rooms of 2 to 3. Thanks, Jennifer. And we're going to have a short period of time, so please be concise. And I will see you back here in about 3 minutes. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Okay. This is wonderful. Yeah. The importance of managing mood and experience. We want every meeting. We want to increase people's excitement for the next meeting with every meeting that we lead, right? And this is like, yeah, this is the science of human connection. When people feel belonging, when people feel like they are truly themselves around their colleagues, then they're going to be a lot more excited to show up to the next meeting instead of it just being like a lecture. And that's one thing that I'll say, like, my virtual meetings are not about content at all. All the content comes before the actual meeting. Okay. So before we jump into actual content, we're going to do one more breakout room in a second. First, we're going to go through a few more slides. So basically, what I've done, I've set all of us up for success to have a fun time in this meeting. I've requested that you close all your tabs. I've requested that you kind of turn off your phone notifications. We've stretched, we've connected with someone and explained to them how we're feeling. So there's a lot of things that I've done to set us up for success, okay? Another thing that I love to do is I'm a big fan of like mantras and affirmations, and this is also for context, setting people up and reminding people, well, what are the values in this virtual space? And for me, the one way that I love to do this when I'm leading virtual parties for Fortune 500 companies is I love to share this quote, and it's the true test of your development is the joy of the people around you. Okay, and this contextualizes it, and to more so contextualize it, I use this phrase, and I actually get people to say it to themselves on mute or um, silently, or actually vocally. And I used to get people to point at someone on screen and say, when you express yourself, I feel permission to express myself. But now I've kind of toned it down a little bit. Essentially, though, what we want to do as leaders, as daring meetings organizers, is we want to create more expression in our meetings. The content, the education, um, brainstorming, creative thinking, all of this is amplified by this kind of feeling of being able to express ourselves and being able to use our hands wildly and smile and maybe wear, some funky shades in the room. Okay, so I really define, the really successful virtual event organizers. Basically, they know how to increase the level of expression in a space. Okay. And so I share this phrase with everyone who ever experiences a virtual party by me. Okay. And so when we're in this space, I invite you to reveal some emotion, because what you're doing is you're benefiting everyone else in this space. Okay. The last thing that I do when I'm leading virtual sessions is I get people to agree to certain community guidelines. And this is something, like it takes 2 minutes to remind people of the values of communication in your organization, or something you stand for personally as a leader. Just share that with your people. This is what I share before I'm leading a session. I make a community agreement. I invite everyone. Of course, you want to create this with your stakeholders, not like I've done. I mean, I kind of just designed this for the experience and to optimize participation. But this is a really important thing that we can do as a ritual at the beginning of our meetings, is remind people of expression, remind people of the true test of our development is the joy of the people around us. I want to emphasize the last one. The last one. This is a really critical practice that has made me capable of creating nourishing human connections wherever I go. And first of all, it's about leading with messy and clumsy vulnerability, like being human. And the second piece is celebrating and acknowledging that messiness, the clumsiness, this humanity. We're all imperfect, fallible human beings, and if we can kind of celebrate that and encourage more of that, we can create virtual meetings where people are actually themselves and feel super psychologically safe. Okay. I also love to show this image, which is all about courage. So, friends, what we're going to do next is we're going to have some fun. Okay, so we're going to be in pairs. If you are not able to be in a breakout room, I'm just going to have to reassemble. Basically, please, we're all going to be put out into breakout rooms automatically, and we're going to be having some fun. And we're going to be accessing the collective intelligence in the room. And so what's going to happen is we're going to have two people, and we're going to go back and forth, and we're going to ask this question a few times in the time that we have. And you can feel free to act it out if you want. And you're going to say, "Oh, great guru of fun meetings, what must I do to run energizing and fun virtual gatherings?" And the person you're with is going to share some insights. We're going to share some advice. We're going to share some wisdom. And then don't worry, I'm going to share some party science with you and some real science of human connection in about 5 minutes. Okay, so does this sound good? Can I just get a thumbs up if that makes sense? Sweet. So feel free to like bow down to the. No, I'm just kidding. You can act it out as much as you'd like, but usually the more fun and the more acting, um, you know, it's always good when we're just laughing our butts off. So I'm actually just gonna open up the same rooms, and I'll put you there. And so we're gonna have 5 minutes to go back and forth. Um, and it looks like I'm gonna recreate these rooms here. All right, wonderful. We're gonna have 5 minutes to do this. It's gonna go by really quickly, and the purpose of this is to give as much wisdom as possible, and unlock the wisdom in the room. So with that, goodbye, my friends. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I'd love to invite anyone to unmute and share something that you learned from the guru, the great guru of fun meetings. Does anyone want to share something in the chat or with their voice?
Well, Jacques, you can always trust me to go first when you need it. So, so Yannick and I were talking. I now have a friend in Poland, which is fantastic. And we shared that the importance of being yourself when you're leading a meeting and not trying to be somebody else is really critical for having an energizing meeting. And I shared a technique, a very simple technique that we've been using where we just talk about a celebration, no matter what it is. We start the meeting off with something good that happened in your life, either work related or not. And it starts the meeting off on a very positive note where we're all either laughing or giving applause or whatever in order to celebrate with that person.
Yannick, any corrections to make? Anything to add,
No,
Yannick?
no correction. It's what we said, yeah, and yeah, it's also to be yourself. Don't try to be someone else, and yeah, and after you can have some acting to bring some energy, but yeah, be yourself.
Yeah, I love that, and ultimately, this being yourself is contagious, and so much of this is just like I'm being myself, like I'll be real, like I don't have as much energy as I usually do today. But you'll see like I'm kind of relaxed and I'm being myself and I'm like having fun and I'm self-deprecating because I'm myself. And immediately like what the impact that it has in a meeting is just people become relaxed, and this impression management mechanism, which prevents a lot of us from having fun at work, comes into operation. Now, I want to build off what you've said, Jimmy. This is a wonderful prompt, right? Like we can just use prompts for our check-ins, and what a great way to kind of get people into that feeling of celebration. And where I want to build off of it is I'm going to put this in the chat. There's this system of communication called CEO dialogues, and I've been researching it lately. And one technique that they use in this system of communication is they begin a meeting with a memory. People visualize a memory where they have felt centered and joyful. And so it's kind of got this element that you're talking about, Jimmy, where we kind of get into this mode where we're kind of activating a positive memory that puts us into a really great mood, right? Wonderful. Would anyone else like to share a little great advice from their great guru and maybe who your great guru was? Anyone else in the chat or not?
Hi, this is Rakhi Bhatia. I know I say RB, but I'm Rakhi
Harvey,
Bhatia.
sweet. Welcome.
I am so late in the meeting, but I happened to directly join the breakout room, and there was a lady called Mercy. I hope I'm pronouncing the name properly. So I think the way she was like the great guru, right? She was sharing the idea, and I really appreciate that idea. It was a good idea from my perspective. She was saying that giving people different kind of hats, right? Like um, uh, maybe a leader hat, or she mentioned a few of the terms. I don't recall all of the terms, but I like the idea, because that makes the other person getting involved in the conversation with a lot of ease, I think, right? And
Mm,
and what I was sharing was that, and we finished our time in the breakout room, but I was in middle of sharing that what generally I prefer to do is that we talk about a common topic, right? Because I work in an organization where we are remotely working in like across the globe. So I prefer to talk about how's the weather, how's the life, how can we come out of COVID, something like
yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And we had your great guru share in the chat, and I love this, right? Because we're creating permission for people to think differently and also kind of like act out a new role. And this is actually a really great tool when we're like having creative brainstorming sessions. Is we can have people put on the devil's advocate hat. We can have people put on the, like even maybe the arrogant hat. You know what I mean? Like we could have so much fun with this, and by doing this we create permission for people to kind of emphasize one part of themselves. So I love that so much. Okay, thank you so much for that, RB. And friends, we're gonna quickly download um, the the like principles of party science that I've learned across 500 parties across the world, and then we're gonna do a checkout, which is gonna be also unlocking the collective intelligence in the room. Uh, First of all, is there anything else burning within someone that someone wants to share? Um, if you got that, just pop it in the chat during this short presentation. Aren't I such a hypocrite? I told you that I was going to send you all the content before, but I didn't. But on that topic, I'm going to go through this really fast because all this content is on my website in the form of a 30-minute masterclass, and then I also write on LinkedIn, and there's lots of great content that I can send you and that I will send you. I'm going to be putting a link in the chat to like my webpage with all my best free stuff. So you don't really have to take notes here. So basically, like, what is the science of human connection? How do we leverage it in our meetings? I'm going to talk about a few different actual neurochemical facts about human connection. The first is that it's related to longevity, right? The people who live the longest, they have really intimate partnerships in their lives. They feel really trustworthy friendships in their lives, and so it's incredibly important for our health and longevity. Now, the first principle of party science is synchrony. And so when I am leading a group of people, I get people to synchronize their movements. We did this stretching at the very beginning. Synchrony actually activates endorphins in our brains. And so when we move in synchrony, or whether we just jump together, like literally I just get people to jump together usually in some parties, and I'll like play I'll play like a song like this or something, and I'll get people to just like jump and clap. And it's much easier in person, and these effects are dramatically increased in person. But literally just getting people to imitate one another, like just having someone go up and lead a stretch, or just like make a movement and everyone imitates after them, is actually neurochemical. So singing, there's a bunch of like evolutionary psychologists who hypothesize that singing replaced grooming. So singing is a really powerful modality. I have a bunch of tools that um, I use in a really safe way, and one of which is called story songs, which I'm actually going to bring this up and include it in the chat for you, because this is something that's less intense that we can actually use in a more professional setting. A lot of people are uh, quite resistant to singing. So this is an article that I wrote. It's called 10 Essential Tools for People. So now I'm going to send you this article later, but there's essentially 2 exercises that I use that involve singing that really unlock the full health benefits of human connection. The first one is this. It's called appreciation sing-alongs. And what it would look like is we would spotlight someone in this room, and then we would sing a song for this person, usually with our flashlights on. So it's like an appreciation sing along. And you're going to get this article in a link that I'm going to send you in a second. The second exercise that I wanted to show you is called story sing-alongs, and I don't have access to the instructions, but I can send it to you if you just reach out. Essentially, I get people into breakout rooms. It's a great kind of bonding exercise. I get people into breakout rooms. I get them to share a song that has particular sentimental value to them, and then I actually have them sing it together. I have them share the YouTube link and sing the song together. And I've done this for some quite formal corporate environments, and it's worked out really effectively. Okay, so I'm going to move into the next one, is laughter. Laughter. Has anyone done laughter yoga here? Has any people done laughter yoga? So if you want to become a stronger facilitator, check out laughter yoga. It is so insane and weird, but it works. And I attended one by someone who teaches about mindfulness, stress-based mindfulness reduction, and he led this class on laughter. Now, what can we do to actually elicit laughter? There's a bunch of tools that I use. We could use games that are available online. We can watch something funny. We can do the sheep check-in, or literally, and this is what you do in laughter yoga, you just take a deep breath and you like laugh it out. And it's so awkward at the beginning, but it actually gets you high on life somehow. So laughter and the brain are super interlinked. And that's why in a previous life, I was known as the banana from Canada, and I traveled around leading groups of strangers in line dances. The last one I want to emphasize is touch. So I use a lot of hand holding in my events, and I use a lot of huddles. I also do a lot of hugging meditations where I get people to just hug for like a minute and essentially breathe consciously while hugging. I know it's really hippie, but trust me, the risks of doing this far underweigh the health benefits of touch. Most of the health benefits of touch of human connection come from touch. And so I guess part of the conclusion from this session is, go out and lead real meetings. Perhaps. But there are other ways to replicate these same health benefits of touch, and part of that is just being super attentive and really shutting down those tabs, shutting down our notifications, and spending some real quality time with one another. And so I've done crowd surf therapy in about 12 different countries where I get people to carry each other in a safe, controlled manner without alcohol or drugs. Okay, so that was a person from a previous session that I led. So I'm going to first pause, and I'd love for everyone to comment one thing they liked or one thing that maybe they can implement in the chat. So put it in the chat, or if you have a question, put it in the chat. The point here is to get out of watch mode and into engagement mode. So just even if you don't have anything to write, just write booyah if you don't have anything to write in the chat. Synchrony and endorphins, laughter yoga. Thank you, Jimmy. And I'll just write booyah because I don't have anything to say. I want to try singing. Awesome. I can definitely send you the stuff. Yeah, Kay is the PhD, so he knows what's up. He knows what laughter yoga is all about. Physical stretching and movement. Yeah, stretching. It doesn't need to be simple. I don't even use the word dance. Okay, I don't use the word dance because dancing is like this performance art form, and like, there's this culture of like, so you think you can dance on the internet. So I don't use the word dance anymore. I just say movement and fun. So I can also send you, you can just Google like essential laughter yoga exercises, and you can come up with some and try them in your meeting. Now, what we're going to get into next, thank you everyone for being so actively engaged. Mirror neurons, damn right. So I'm going to quickly share with you 4 habits that you can implement as a facilitator, because you can have all these tools, you can know the science of human connection, but if you just like have a negative energy or you are really lethargic, and you don't take risks, like you don't express yourself in your meeting, people are not really going to participate fully in your exercises and benefit from the session. So what we're getting into is FQ, and I'm going to share with you the definition of FQ. And I'm working on a scientific measure for this, and I'm probably going to change the name because I've invented 3 terms now: FQ, biosocial hacking, and vibing. So I need to like scale down the vocab. But I'm not going to go into all this. The first habit that I would love for you, I think is going to have a transformational impact on how you lead virtual meetings and also just how you engage in human connection, is literally checking in with your nervous system before you go lead a group of humans, or before you have a client meeting, or before you get on a phone call. Before you do that, take pause, check yourself, and activate a pro-social state. And what this means is do something to improve your mood and physical energy, and that is going to be contagious in the room. What can you do? You can do breath work, you can do movement, you can put on a song, you can visualize a memory. Okay, so this is like the fundamental habit that I use when I am connecting and when I am facilitating. Now, internal safety is quite complicated, so I'm actually going to skip this. But essentially, whether a group wants us to take risks or not, we need to feel safe taking risks, and we need to be the first. We need to be the first to dance, the first to smile, the first to appreciate others. These are all social risks. We cannot take social risks unless we feel safe to do so. And so there's a bunch of things that I teach people about to kind of help people. Sorry, there's a dog that really needs to go to the washroom below me. So as I'm demonstrating social risk, right, everyone, there's the dog. Okay, so social risks. Okay, the next thing I'm going to share is called interpersonal safety, otherwise known as psychological safety. Okay, psychological safety is when other people feel safe to take risks in a group. It's not about you, it's about the other people. That's what psychological safety is. Now, the simple habit that I encourage you to implement in your human connections and in your sessions is celebrating people's expression. So literally the cue is when people start to like come alive, or they take a risk, or they like make a movement, or they're like, hey everyone, like I want to show you my new chocolate brand. Like, this isn't my chocolate brand, but like if I was like an employee at your organization and I ran a chocolate brand and wanted to show you guys my chocolate brand, like we would celebrate that. We'd be like, wow, this person's so excited and they're sharing their great new endeavor. That's a social risk. Let's celebrate it. Let's use our gestures. Let's lean into the screen and smile. Let's like empathize. So celebrating others' expression. Really important human connection principle. The last principle of FQ is called pro-social energy. Unlocking pro-social energy is about unlocking the energy that is latent in a group when we unite the group, when we use games, when we use movement exercises, we unlock pro-social energy. And this is done by a toolkit of games and exercises. And I have, hundreds of tools that I use, and they're just in the back of my head. So I know when to use them. Okay. So, hallelujah. Let's see if we got a song for that. Nope. Celebration, everybody. We are done the presentation. Hallelujah. I'd love for us, pause, center, shift. Excellent. Let's include one more comment in the chat. One thing that just came up, one word, one phrase that resonated with you, or one question you have. And then we're going to do our checkout exercise, which is going to be just as fun. And if you don't have anything to add to the chat, just say Eureka. Thank you so much, Kai. Oh, wonderful. Kai just took a risk and told me he'd love to help me become more trauma informed. So this is wonderful. So thank you so much, Kai. I really appreciate that. Let's definitely chat. I know, get off the stage, John. I need to get off the stage here for sure. And so, happy Friday. Woohoo! So sweet. What we're going to do next is we're going to do our checkout exercise. What I'm going to, so we're actually not going to, yeah, we're going to check out. We're going to check out. It's going to be about 4 minutes. We're going to check out. It's going to be the same format as what we did with the Great Guru exercise. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask each other questions back and forth, and we're going to share one sentence in response. And so it's going to be rapid back and forths. We're not rambling here. Okay. So you're going to ask your partner at your next virtual meeting, what will you do differently? And they're going to breathe, relax, and watch what comes into their mind. They're going to answer in one sentence, and then they're going to ask the same question back to their partner. This is called a dyad. This is one of the tools that I talked about that I use in a lot of my sessions. So with that, we're going to have 4 minutes, and then we're going to come back, close it up, and have a massive virtual dance party. Okay? And there's going to be clowns and trampolines, and we're going to do the Macarena. Okay, so wonderful. I'm going to open up these breakout rooms, and we're going to be in the same groups. And Kai, I'm going to move you into an actual room this time, so apologies about that. And here we go. Recreate. All right, so we're going to have 4 minutes, everybody. And feel free to also just be more casual, but this exercise is quite fun. I encourage you to try out the dyad as per the structure. Okay, see you soon, friends. One has returned, And friends, we're going to end this in a fun and playful exercise. So we're going to spotlight essentially everyone. And I'm going to need you to find 2 items that you can hold in your hands. Okay? 2 items that you can hold in your hands. Okay? And the weirder the item is, the better. So I have 2 guns, a massage gun and a water gun. Okay. Yep. Okay. And we are ready to go. So everyone get your 2 items up. Yes, awesome. Awesome. And if you don't have 2 items, just bring up your 2 fingers. It's an invitation. Oh my God, you just beat all of us, Lay, or Lee. Okay, wonderful, everyone. Let's just send some good energy to the people in the room with some hallelujahing. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Okay. And more intensity. Okay, everyone. I hope that you have more energy and tools. I'm going to put something in the chat. It's a link to all my best free stuff on one webpage. And you can go there and basically look at everything I do. So let me just copy and paste it quickly. Okay, there it is. And if you want to stick around and um, and check out my best free stuff. And if you want to stick around and ask me a question, I'll be on for like the next 10 minutes. So, goodbye, everyone. Woo!
Thank you, Jacques. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I gotta go. Bye.
My son says bye to everybody.
I didn't even say that.
Bye.
Bye, Paro.
Bye-bye. Reese's Pop. Reese's Pop.
Bye. Take care.
Okay, thank you. Bye. Have a nice weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's so funny.
I love it when children join the virtual meetings.
Oh. Awesome.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey.
Jimmy and Kai. Kai, I'm curious, if you don't mind me asking, was there anything in particular that led you to make that comment, or just more general?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, so that atomic habit that you suggested for facilitators before entering a meeting, like a pause and a shift into a pro-social state, definitely that can be benign, like for acute meetings, right? For a meeting here and there. But if it's a facilitator where that is their work and they're doing that constantly, that's a form of overriding one's nervous system if they're not in a pro-social state. And so that's a recipe for burnout.
Love it. I totally agree.
Yeah. So like this whole concept, like basically all the mainstream, like positive psychology type stuff, like Joe Dispenza's work, Tony Robbins, all this stuff, like the choose the better emotion, choose the better feeling. It's actually very unhealthy.
I just want to pause you. I fully resonate. And one thing that I have in my curriculum, or like just this 20-page thing about FQ is basically it's like this, it's temporary. And if our nervous system's exhausted, if we're malnourished, if we're sleep deprived, it just doesn't work. But I love the depth that you're getting to in this. And that's like repression of just not noticing and dealing with the root cause, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the focus of my whole life now is helping people in trauma-informed root cause exploration and resolution in finding their life purpose and living their purpose. So
yeah. I really appreciate that, man. I'm so happy you stayed on to share that with me.
Yeah. I'm bummed I got on late, like very late. But I think I'd love to drop in at some point. I think there's potential for some cool collaboration.
Yeah. Do you want to pop some sort of contact information into the chat and I'll reach out?
Yeah. We'll do. I'll do that right now.
Sweet. John, any I hope I didn't embarrass Lucid Meetings.
No.
How was it? It was good.
No, not at all. Here's what I was thinking. I was watching what you were talking about, and I was thinking so much of what Elise talks about with the neuroscience and aspects, what's going on, the psychological aspects and the physicality, and we've had a lot on there. I was actually going to tell you, like I don't know, there were like 5 or 6 just golden little phrase nuggets. Like one of them right at the beginning, I just took it as like this idea of if you're gonna have daring meetings. Okay, it's just a toss away line, but I'm like, oh, but that just completely makes you rethink what your meeting is about, right? That idea, right?
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of them, so I have to go back to the recording, look at your slides again, and pull a few things out. But no, it was fun. It was engaging. It was what I walk away with is there's a ton of depth at the Party Scientist Substack, I assume, somewhere. It says because basically, there's just a lot more here. We just tweaked the top of the iceberg.
Yep. And ultimately, like, I stay so superficial. I'm just like trying to give people as much value as possible and like and trying to create as much interaction as possible. So it's challenging, but thank you for those reflections. And I had fun. I've been really overexerting myself recently, and my voice, as you can tell, is really overexerted. Thank you.
Yeah. And I like the dyads. I thought dyads are nice. It's a fun exercise.
Yeah.
We use those elsewhere. So it's good to get people. I was thinking is one way to get people talking and active and engaged. You do a dyadic exercise somewhere earlier in the process. So you have to engage instead of just sit back. It's an effective way to get people in motion, and, kind of mentally in motion. So verbally.
Yeah, thank you. I'd love to hear from one of my greatest allies, Jimmy. How you doing, brother?
I'm great. Yeah, anytime I can have 5 minutes of Jacques time, it lasts me a month. I was so glad that you mentioned the singing practice when you were talking to the group today, because we've had a number of callbacks to one of the vibes that you did where you probably don't even remember, you do these all the time, but Lauren Morbido was the person that you spotlit, and we were singing "You're Beautiful." Do you remember that? We were just singing that song to her, and she was breaking down breaking down's a bit dramatic, but she became a little misty over that, and she still talks about how meaningful that moment was for her.
Oh my God! For a second, Jimmy, I was like, she broke down. Like,
no.
I was like looking at Kai. I was like, oh
no. Guys, I'm sorry, wrong term, but I mean, she did become a little, overwhelmed by emotion at having everybody singing "You're Beautiful" to her in that moment. It was so meaningful to her, and she's talked about it, since. So I'm glad that you talked about it, because it was really effective and a very lovely moment in that event that you held for us.
Yeah. Thank you, Jimmy. Oh man. So just for context, I worked with Jimmy to do this like pilot virtual Vive, like a year and a half ago, and
Yeah,
just
2020.
man,
Yeah.
like it has developed so much more. It's incredible, just the power of iteration and feedback. Like I will listen to the recording over and over again and like implement changes. Man, yeah, Jimmy, it's evolved. It's evolved.
Well, I have to be off. John, Kai, both lovely to meet both of you, and Jacques, love you, brother, and I'll see you soon sometime.
Ciao.
You got a bedroom here if you're ever in Atlanta.
All right, ciao, Jimmy.
Bye.
Canadian banana guy.
Mhm.
Okay.
Jacques, can I ask you real quick, like what are sort of your big picture, like long game plans for what you're doing?
Yeah, that's quite topical for me right now. So I've been nomadic since October, and I've really realized that being nomadic, it's very difficult to focus on a vision and build community in the long term. Both
Yep.
those things are really important to me, especially the phrase enduring value. How do we create enduring value? Ultimately, I'll demonstrate. So you know the game where you have like a phone, and it's like the charades game, right?
Uh,
It's like it's technology mediated human connection. So basically, what I want to do is I want to develop an app where any average person hosting a house party, dinner party, networking party, um, you know, DJ party can just connect their phone to a Bluetooth device, and within 30 minutes, everyone's high on human connection. That's kind of
Beautiful.
what, yeah, that's where I'm going. So I teach these principles, but like where I truly come alive is I'll actually show you, Kai. I have this speaker.
Yeah.
And I travel around with it, and I get people dancing and smiling, laughing. So I want to scale that. Like I want to create these recordings that people can just use to access the health benefits of human connection, and that's basically what I'm all about.
Cool.
it sounds like a cool way. I was thinking about all the different family events where you have people in family who are polarized on issues and how to find the common ground and kind of pull people out of the media infused division and into their common ground again, which is kind of cool.
Yep. And what you're pointing at is the difference between like intellectual connection or like these ideological differences, and like the reality is if we sing, dance, and touch each other enough as humans, like we can actually create the emotional foundation for ideological differences, for overcoming those ideological differences or whatnot.
Yeah.
Or opening you up to at least to be accepting of other people's perspectives, maybe in some cases.
Empathy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Jacques, that raises a beautiful point, which is most of our human experience is actually in the body and not in the brain. And that's been like a decade-long transition for me coming out of physics academia, like living my life up here, this being nurtured from like being a very little one, my dad being a physicist as well, and then just like through some losing my father to suicide and some other significant traumas, like learning what's important in life, which is not living from here, living from the gut and the heart. And it makes perfect sense in terms of evolutionary biology. Like, our prefrontal cortex is very, very young relative to the rest of us. And most of our experience and our emotions are actually embodied. They're not cerebral. A lot of things that we think originate here actually originate in the body. And before those impulses, those stimuli actually reach the brain, our body already knows how we're going to respond to them. It's wild.
Yeah, that's it's again, all these things, they just keep coming up, technology mediated, and we're not using our bodies, and we're not physically moving together, and we're sitting here talking to each other via an intermediated technology conversation. It's all here, right? Just what you just said. It's like,
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Kai, I really love what you said, right? Like our body responds before we actually understand or like choose or the before the premise of choice comes into mind, our like body has already responded. And I just think about the statistics, right? It's like, well, what percentage of communication is through words, right? It's like what?
8% maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I really think, and what frustrates me about the events industry and like how people gather is literally it's all talking based. Like all people do is talk and drink and eat, and like that's it. And some people are having like playful conversations, but most people are just like, I don't know, just yeah, it's just wow. Like there's just so much more powerful experiences that we can create in our socializing systems, like bars, nightclubs, restaurants. Like there's just so much more that can be done.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
John, where's home for you, John?
We're in Portland, Oregon.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm West Coast also. I'm in San Diego, California.
Okay. Like San Diego. Nice weather, always.
Well, did you see his email, John? Kai.
I use that email address very intentionally because it tells so many people in like an introductory email the responsibility. I love your email. I know so much about you already, without any words, any additional words. So
it's like it's a mini CV.
Yeah. And I think those two things. So I have certification in surf therapy and therapeutic yoga, and like for embodied practices, those two things are wildly powerful for a million reasons. So
nice.
Yeah. Jacques, anytime you're down in California, drop me a line, brother.
Kai, yes, and I'll send you an email. I'm leading maybe you can come to this adult summer camp that I'm leading. It's near San Diego. It's in May, so I'll send you the link, but yeah, I'm going to be in San Diego soon.
Cool. I'll also mention a good friend of mine in the yoga community. He manifested this opportunity of this like very, very beautiful, unique 170-acre property here in San Diego for massive retreat offerings. And we're building that out, and it's going to be something where we also train retreat facilitators as well. Really, really cool opportunity.
Oh, I'd love to check that out.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful, gents. I'm so happy you stayed on for longer. I really enjoyed this. And John, let's I'm going to be attending more of your events. I feel drawn to connecting with you, and I'm excited. I feel energized for the day.
Thanks for bringing that to the community. Me too. I'm ready to rock it now. Let's do it.
Okay, ciao, friends.